All right, welcome to the College Game Day podcast. This is Dan Wetzel, senior writer for ESPN, not Reese Davis. Reese is going to call tonight, Monday night's TCU North Carolina game, so we are saving his voice. My voice has no purpose other than this podcast, so we'll wear this out.
Do you want to know where Reese is right now at early Monday morning? He is at Purple Bowl in Chapel Hill. And I can confirm this because I went to Purple Bowl with him yesterday. And one of Reese's friends here is the longtime statistician at UNC, Fred. And Fred is like the Norm Peterson or Cliff Clavin of Purple Bowl. He has his name on the back of the chair at the coffee bar at the acai bar. And yeah, like that's serious stuff. Like I'm sure at UMass you had your name on the back of a bar stool, right? And we went there yesterday, and you used to tease me on our old podcast, Dan, about eating acai bowls. Like I was the healthy guy, which really spoke to the health of the other guys if I was a healthy guy on the podcast. And
extra
it was
peanut butter and chocolate chips in it. Yeah.
Oh no, I'll have an unhealthy acai bowl now. But it was the best acai bowl I've ever had at Purple Bowl yesterday.
Purple Bowl.
There. And yeah, no, it was a fantastic place, and I will give them credit. It is run by a delightful lady. She's married to a gentleman who is a professor in the business school, and they prioritize in their hiring local special needs kids, and that's like a big part of their personnel. So I left there just feeling good. It's like a wonderful collegiate institution. They knew everybody in there, and everybody's like back for the game. There's a real buzz here in Chapel Hill. It's pretty cool. And they're hugging the people who come in as former employees, former students, former regulars. It was just a really cool, really cool experience. So I'd be pretty shocked, if Reese was not at Purple Bowl right now, because they treat him like a king, and who doesn't like acai bowls? It'd be, it's probably where I will go after this podcast.
Uh-huh. All right, well, that is the voice of Pete Thamel, all things college football at ESPN, and that is his NIL deal for Purple Bowl. I hope you have an NIL deal after that. No, Purple Bowl sounds.
It's always been my goal to get an acai bowl NIL deal. So
free acai bowl. Hope they give you one today. They're not going to hear this until you leave town, but maybe when you come back, pay for your acai bowl and tip well. Yeah. So, quick reminder though, please download the podcast wherever.
Paula is such an institution in Chapel Hill, Dan. Yeah. Paula is such an institution in Chapel Hill who runs Purple Bowl. She went to Drake May's wedding. All right, that's all you need to know.
Drake May went to Purple Bowl a lot. That might be the secret.
Obviously, a lot if he knows Paula well enough. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope he plays well. Wedding. Patriots need a little uptick. So.
That is a lot happening.
Drake Way's betting. That's a true story. She's showing us pictures. We were at Purple Bowl for a while yesterday here. So anyway, I hijacked the podcast early here.
Purple Bowl. I was thinking we'd talk Rose Bowl. I thought we'd talk Cotton Bowl. I didn't. Yeah, Purple Bowl. Duke's Mayo Bowl might get mentioned. Who knows? You see that? Someone got engaged. An App State fan got engaged at the Duke's Mayo Classic on Saturday. I can't think of anything more romantic than that, but maybe Purple Bowl. They should have gone to Purple Bowl instead of the Duke's Mayo Classic. Where'd you and Mom get engaged?
Did they dump mayo on them after they engaged?
They took photos. Her friends seem excited. I mean, we wish the couple happy, but I mean, really? Okay. App State won.
App State Charlotte. Yeah.
They won.
App Friday State night thriller. Yeah.
Got the ring at the Duke's Mayo Classic. Nothing more special than that. We're going to talk. We got a lot of stuff to unpack here. You were at a different exciting event, not quite the engagement at the Duke's Mayo Classic, but the final College GameDay, Lee Corso, the big scene in Texas at Ohio State. Arch no, not going so well for him. But just before that, you've covered a lot of games at Ohio Stadium. I am on record saying it's my favorite stadium in the country. I love the whole place. It's loud. There's an edge to it. There's these creepy towers that you don't know what's buried in them. Are they doing scientific experiments? I love everything about Ohio Stadium. What was the whole scene, just briefly, with that final game? I think it was the highest rated game day ever. Coach Corso gets every pick correct. I mean, this thing was fantastic.
Yeah. a memorable morning, just professionally for me. We're in the office pretty early. Reese and I are usually kind of the first ones over there, and sitting there doing our work on who's injured, and Reese is writing up the show, and probably probably around 7:30. I'm just trying to set the scene. There's a bunch of us sitting in the office. It's behind the scenes people: Jim Galliero, Joe Liano, Matt Garrett, all the game day people who make it magic happen, and just sitting there, and then Coach opens the door in this tuxedo, and the whole room was just like, yes, yes, yes. He told us he was going to wear a tux, and it was just like, from that moment on, it was just pitch perfect. And what a just unbelievable tribute to Coach. I thought Ohio State was really classy. They gave him like a permanent marker on campus of like they're going to hang it up to commemorate all of the picks. Thought what Ryan Day did was pretty classy with the helmet and the sticker, one for every time he picked the Buckeyes. Like they this wasn't just like, hey, here's some Buckeye treats. Thanks for your time. It was very intentional and appreciated. He was extremely emotional. His whole family was there. It was a really, really cool scene. The people, it mattered to the people in Columbus. We've probably done 5 game days in Columbus since I started on the show. This was like 3x the crowd they normally get. I mean, it was wild. Also, wildly different than the last time we were in Columbus when it was 80% Tennessee orange for game day. And that. So it's just like this sport. One of the great things about it is the emotional swings are unbelievable. But I just thought every aspect, every tribute, everybody who came in was awesome for Coach Corso. The other funny memory I have is, I'm walking through the office to go find something, and like I walk around the corner, I see the Oregon Duck like in a closet. I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And the Columbus is the Oregon Ducks. All the mascots were there with their people. So there was a lot of time and thought put into that, and I was glad to see Coach crush the moment, crush his picks, and just go off like the icon he was. That transitions, like the pick happens, and then we're at the game, and I go over. And you always stand, when you watch the game on the sideline, you stand on the opposing team sideline just because there's more room, right? Like the home sideline is flush with all these people. So we're standing at the edge of the Texas sideline. In the middle of the second quarter, I looked at Stanford Steve, who's done this about as long as I have and covered games and everything. I said, "Hey, is this the loudest you've ever heard this place? Like, I don't want to be a prisoner of that moment. Like, oh, this is the latest, the greatest." And he was like, "Nah, man." He's like, "I've never heard it like this." And I never did either. And I texted a couple of Ohio State people that night, who've been there for 15, 20 years. And they all said, just from an environment standpoint, it was like wire to wire, kick to end, the loudest they've ever heard the horseshoe. So it was a teeming cauldron in there, Dan, from kickoff, from the moment it started. And I just think it speaks to like this crescendo this program is on right now. Look at the beasts they've slayed in their past since Michigan, right? It's like it's a historic run of just slaying big name programs. So it was just a really cool scene there. How did it come through on TV, Dan? What was your perspective?
It was an incredible environment, obviously. And Ohio State's on a historic run for them, national title, and come back and do this. The scene of the game day crowd outside and then inside were great. I find it interesting. It's the loudest because, obviously you have the Michigan game and every other year. And you go the overtime game between Harbaugh and Meyer, comes down to that. The explosion on that, I was down the field level, incredibly loud. The 1-2 game back in, I forget the year, but whatever, when 2006, right after Bo Schembechler passes away, like that was one of the biggest games I've ever been because of the stakes of like this icon that both sides, one side's beloved, the other truly appreciates. That. So, but I always feel with when Ohio State and Michigan play, there's such tension because you can't, until it's over, you just can't like everyone's nervous. Both teams are fans are nervous and all that. So I could see where this is a little bit more like we're celebrating, we want to win, this is exciting. But also there's nobody there just covering their eyes like I can't look. I believe it. Well, part of the deal was the crowd, right? Arch Manning is the story. All credit to Matt Patricia and his defense and this whole Ohio State team. A little bit overlooked in the offseason. Patricia put together an incredible defensive game plan, but the players executed it. And if you rewatch some of those plays they did, like there's some complex schemes, and this was an NFL level job of disguising coverages and doing things to confuse not just Arch, but the whole Texas staff and their receivers, where to go, what to do. But the story of the game is Arch Manning. 17 of 30, 170 yards, 5.7 yards per attempt. He had a TD. He ran the ball pretty well. There were some things he did very well. I thought, you see the mechanics on his footwork and things, but this guy was hyped. He's going to win the championship. He's going to win the Heisman. He's going to be the number one pick. I think the story of the weekend, and we thought this going in, was Arch Manning was, I thought, just another guy. He certainly was not all those things that he got hyped up to be. And that's going to be the continuing story of what's up with this guy. How good is he, and how good can Texas be, and how quickly can they shake this off?
Yeah. My takeaway on Arch, Dan, is pretty simple. Like, this is hard. It's hard to be a college quarterback. And just because your last name is Manning doesn't mean you're immune to a growth curve. And what we saw was a growth curve. Look, they clearly wanted, first play of the game, they clearly wanted to settle in Arch with like an easy rollout pitch and catch, get him moving, get him going. And I mean, he spiked that thing 5 yards into the ground in front of his receiver. He clearly was affected by human emotion, crowd noise, environment, and nerves, right? Like that's a throw he should be able to, any 5-star quarterback should be able to throw in their sleep. And I don't think it's abnormal that you go out in your third career start, first on the road, first against let's just say a top 50 opponent, right? And there's going to be struggles. We sat down with Arch at media days. It was interesting, like the little breadcrumbs you would think about after. He made it a point to bring up Matt Patricia being the DC in this opener. Clearly, in the Manning family, they talked a lot about Patricia, right? Like Peyton and Eli had both gone against great Belichick defenses and Patricia defenses. Like this is clear. That had clearly been a topic of conversation. I vividly remember him saying, like, "Hey, and look at Ohio State, like they get a new coordinator, and there's some thought put into that." Like he articulated that without somebody kind of asking him. It was on his mind. And from what I was told, making some calls yesterday, what Matt Patricia did. By the way, Dan, your number 2 pencil. There's a nice little. If I was writing a column off this game, it would have been right from Corso's "Not So Fast" to Matt Patricia's number 2, Fort Ticonderoga on his ear. They both had they probably had the 2 best Saturdays of anybody. The Ticonderoga crew.
I think. Yeah, doesn't Corso owns part of the company? He's got some deal with the company. I know that. Yeah.
Yes, there is something. For
and
I'm not
the number 2 pencil. In AI age, the number 2 pencil is going. It's fading in prominence. But here we are, big day.
Yes. So, what they were able to do was, the things you changed fronts, right? Ohio State, since Urban Meyer got there, it was a defiant 4-down team, right? That's how you recruit NFL inside guys. You have 2 interior, then you have edges, and obviously you cannot argue the success they've had on the defensive line there. It's just been an assembly line of creatures, right? But what Patricia's done, he's brought a little bit more NFL diversity. They didn't know what to expect, and there was clearly like a period of adjustment for Sark in the Texas offense there. And look, Ohio State's defense is ahead of their offense right now, just like Texas's defense, which I thought acquitted itself excellent on Saturday. When you really step back and look at it, is ahead of the Texas offense right now. Going to practice there this week, the name everybody kept saying to me was Arvell Reese, who made his first start at linebacker, number 8. And he was a guy who didn't fit great in Jim Knowles' scheme. And that's something we're all going to snicker at down the line, because that dude could play, man. He was all over the field. Kind of negated. When I picked Texas, I picked in part because I thought it would be a bit of a slog in a low-scoring game, and Arch could do stuff with his legs. Arch didn't do anything with his legs all day of consequence. And credit Arvell Reese and the Ohio State defense for knowing that and shutting that aspect down.
He looked confused on when to run too. Yeah, when that's all part of it. It just was it. Look, this is going to be, like I said, I think Arch is fine. He's just the problem was the problem, at least outside of him and the narrative, the whole national discussion is all the discussion that went in. I said this many times in the season, over the summer on the show. I've never seen a season where so much focus was on one player when that player hasn't really played. This was Johnny Manziel year 2. This was Tim Tebow year 2. Everything was about one guy, and all we had ever seen were 2 starts, and nobody knew. And so the expectations and everything, and the public will flip on you. I mean, there's nothing not to like about Arch Manning. Okay, he is if you are an old school football fan, you should love this guy. He talks about his teammates. He took one school, he didn't transfer around. He's been very take his time, develop loyalty to Texas. Right, his announcement was just an Instagram post. All the things that he did that people should really like. It doesn't matter, because when you're watching the game at home on TV, there's Arch 3 and out, and then Arch is in a commercial. Arch and his dad are doing a Warby Parker commercial, which I know you like because you got your new Warby Parker glasses. But
you think that NIL deal can swing my way, Dan?
I think they spent it all on Arch and Cooper. But like too that, bad. You should jump in. You're looking good in them. You're looking good. Mine are Walgreens readers. So I don't know.
You should definitely get a Walgreens reader deal.
I think I should. Yeah. But like when you're the public at home and you're like, man, this guy, and like we'll talk about like CJ Carr later. CJ Carr did a lot of great things in the Notre Dame. He's a Notre Dame quarterback against Miami. We also did some things. You go, all right, this guy's, that's all Arch is. Yeah. He's just this guy. And yet he's in multiple commercials during the games. And so the challenge now for Arch, you can brush that off and say, who cares? You can say, look, the guy wasn't horrible, but he also wasn't what he was supposed to be. How does he handle this? Because there is a tidal wave, fair or not, this is how the world works, of negative scorn and attention coming to him. And can he regroup, get his confidence, maybe this is just this one defense, and get to the point where they're better when they play some teams the rest of this year, because there's a lot of it teeters really quick when you get that level of scorn against you. And right now the public is not necessarily on Arch Manning's side. And again, that's not fair. That's not necessarily fair, but that's just reality.
Yeah. I think back to what Arch said in Atlanta, Dan, this summer. Quote, "It's weird. I really haven't deserved any of this, so just trying to play along and play ball." And I thought that was like a very self-aware comment. That here's the interesting thing about the Arch hype, right? And Sark said it was out of control after the game. It's not just been like college media, the expectations. Like pretty much every draft analyst I listened to this summer made him the favorite to be the number one pick if he was to come out in this upcoming draft.
Right.
And look, like I'm no great soothsayer. When Reese and I picked our like top 5 quarterbacks in college football this year, I didn't pick him because like he hadn't done it yet. And I didn't go study the film. I didn't do anything yet, but there's a lot of really good quarterbacks, right? So who've started 30 games and thrown for 5,000 plus yards. So like there's, Garrett Nussmeier has more skin on the wall, but sure. The arc, I think Peyton was 3-13 in his rookie year, maybe, Dan, something like that. Was he 1-15? He was really
Colts?
Bad at the Colts.
He set the all-time interception record. Yeah.
So look, not only Manning's, but there is always the quarterback position is unforgiving and difficult. And if he had opened against, I think, Louisiana Monroe or whoever he played against last year, opened against Tulsa and ran him by 60, like the train would be going. So ultimately, you need adversity for growth, Curve. I'm not worried about Arch Manning in any way. And I'm certainly not worried about Texas, Dan. Like Sark all summer said, look, our defense is the best we've ever had here in his time. It's loaded with creatures. I mean, all the NFL guys before the game were fawning over how Texas looked on the hoof defensively. Texas isn't great at receiver. They're good at back. They have 4 new guys on the offensive line, but they are wildly talented. I'd be very surprised if Texas is not in the college football playoff. So, and Arch is just going to have to kind of grow up and grow along and settle in a little bit. Just like I think his coronation was overblown, I don't think it would be just completely ridiculous to write him off. Arch Manning is like everybody else, right? He's like CJ Carr, like a lot of these first-time starters in college football right now. There's some good, there's some bad. Austin Simmons was that way for Ole Miss the other day. Like there were some good, bad throws here and there, and you move on and you grow.
Yeah, they got San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston off week, and then they go to Florida, then they get Oklahoma. So there is some time here to right the ship, lay
Yeah.
low. Hope the commercials don't run too much, although it's good for the bank account. And just try to regroup. But that's
How
it.
much did they run, Dan? Because I obviously didn't watch. Like,
Enough that I
was it
noticed,
constant?
and I'm not sitting there going, "Hey, I wonder what
Yeah.
the next commercial is going to be." And commercials are. I remember Baker Mayfield being in a big commercial for a while when he was at Cleveland, and he hadn't really made that next step. And fans just they're going to react to that. Like every action has a reaction, and one of the reactions of getting a national commercial is you get money, but you also potentially get, this person's overexposed. What are they doing? So it works when you're Mahomes or Caitlin Clark or something like that, but it can be a double-edged sword. So the Mannings will handle it, and Arch will handle it. Just quickly on Ohio State. Again, national title contenders with this defense. I'm expecting the offense will get better. Julian Sayin made his first start, much like a guy. He was just a guy out there too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good things, a lot of things he could have done better. I think if the offense gets clicking, as I expect they will, this is going to be it's a team that could easily be rolling into the Penn State game in early November undefeated.
I thought Julian Sayin acquitted himself really well, like just generally. He didn't need to do too much. They didn't ask him to do too much. I thought the most interesting quote after the game was Ryan Day said that Brian Hartline called an unselfish game, which for his first game calling plays, I thought that was like a window into what they were looking for and what they got. But ultimately, Julian Sayin, this was Patriots, Jets, NFL-y slugfest, right? He didn't make the big mistake. And a lot of college football is not losing the game. And Julian Sayin didn't lose the game. 2 drops by Jeremiah Smith. Max Clare should have had that 4th down ball on the crosser early in the game. Like 13 for 20 could pretty, you blink and it looks more like 16 for 20 in his like maybe a little more buzz. But considering how little Julian Sayin had played, and he hadn't taken any like real game snaps. He'd come in for mop-up time here and there, but he had not like. I thought he was a cool customer. What I had heard at practice was that from the day he was named the starter, like something clicked in him, and he brought with him a vocal aspect and a confidence and a swag that maybe he hadn't had as he was battling in camp. And so it'll be interesting because this is this win gives the Buckeyes a little leeway as they push forward here. But this is again a very good Ohio State team.
Really good, really good. Well, this is it. If you recruit well, still you're going to be strong in so many spots, and a lot of those guys that were held back a year ago. I said the other day because Buckeye players returned instead of going to the NFL draft. Now they get their chance, and there it is. Let's talk complete unmitigated disasters, though. How's Alabama doing today? AL.com has already had a column saying they should fire Kalen DeBoer today, or really it was yesterday, Sunday. 9-5 in his career. He's now lost 4 games to double-digit underdogs. They lose 31-17 to Florida State. There was very little to get excited about out of this game. Florida State played a whale of a game. It's like open hunting season on the Tide right now. Tommy Castellanos, the Florida State quarterback, who basically, he said I don't see them stopping me. They don't have Nick Saban to save them. His website, and yes, it's 2025, so Tommy Castellanos has a website. It is selling as part of its 31-17 collection. Very, very modern branding. T-shirts that read "Nick can't save them," and I'm guessing that an inordinate amount of orders went to the Auburn Opelika region on this. This T-shirt could be quite popular. Ty Simpson wasn't really good. The defense wasn't really good. Everything was looked disorganized. It just didn't look like Bama. This is not good. This is not good. All credit to Florida State. We'll talk a little more about what they did and Mike Norvell's staff rebooting. But they controlled this game. They didn't just win 31-17. They were in control of this game for pretty much the whole game. And you kept waiting for Bama to flip the switch. I don't know if Bama's got a switch anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talent on Alabama, Dan, and I think that's like the root of what was so concerning about what happened Saturday. The Alabama offensive line is loaded. They have great skill. Now, Jam Miller was out. Tim Keenan was out on the D-line. Two very good players and starters. But the one thing like that was so jarring to see, Dan, is Alabama has always played with this physical edge, right? And they've dominated the point of attack on both sides of the ball. And they just got smoked, like physically. And look, if this game was the first game of the 2024 season and Florida State beat Alabama by 2 touchdowns, you'd kind of say, okay, all right, they won the ACC and they're good. College football is just such a wild year-to-year business now. You know what I mean? Like 2023 and 2024, Florida State had nothing to do with each other. Clearly, 2025 is just a completely, new. Just you almost have to like flush the picture and read off of what you see in front of you. Never have preseason predictions been so useless in a sport than they are in college football right now. I want to make this point. We're going to talk about Florida State a little bit. Watching Gus Malzahn dial it up and give him credit. Like the guy's been through it a little bit, been through the ringer a little bit, got run at Auburn, didn't work at UCF. Remember Nick Marshall, Dan?
Yeah.
The Auburn quarterback who, I believe they won the SEC with. I think he was a quarterback the night of the kick six. That's who Tommy Castellanos is. He's Nick Marshall. I had a coach call me Sunday and say, Thomas Castellanos never went past his first read. And that is not an insult to him. It's a compliment to Gus knowing exactly what he has, how to use him properly, and how to just dial up plays to gash the defense. And the fact that Florida State didn't have an answer for what is a scheme that is sort of tried and true, right? It wasn't like Gus went and got a whole new playbook on how to run plays. So, look, I think the narrative about Florida State in the offseason was you're riding your career on Tommy Castellanos, who quit the team at BC, and Gus Malzahn, who flamed out in his last 2 jobs. And Mike Norvell wakes up and says, yes, that is exactly what I did. Credit to Tony White, the DC, who I think did a really good job, from talking to staff there in the offseason. It wasn't a talent issue. I remember standing with Nick Saban on the sideline in Dublin before the opener against Georgia Tech last year, and he was like, that's an SEC defensive line, it's an elite defensive line last year. It was an execution discipline issue. It was not like they didn't have dudes. And I think they have dudes again, and they re-energized and reorganized and brought it, and they punched the Tide in the face on Saturday.
Yeah, they were tremendous. We'll get to the Miami Clemson. Like they could be ACC favorites, so could Miami. Like the ACC.
Good day for the ACC. When's the last time the old Pod was singing the ACC song, especially Clemson losing?
Pod was. I know Pod. Miami looks really good. So like that Saturday, October 4 game, Florida State Miami is good. We'll get to them a little more on the Tide, as you know. We talk about the crowd is against Arch a little bit. Paul, the calls are coming. Kalen DeBoer, incredible track record. Like you couldn't hire a better coach when they hired him. He's got small college victories. He's Fresno. He takes Washington national championship game. But
the Indiana OC, and he was great. Like they had that great season in COVID, and he was there with Mike. Like guys won everything he's touched has won.
Right. So this was not like we took some risk here. This was the guy you hire. We just got the guy who took Washington to the national championship game, and we got him to come to Alabama. But he's 9-5. I mean, and it's almost so much disbelief that this is happening. I mean, we spent the whole offseason trying to redo the playoff because it wasn't Alabama didn't get in. Must be something wrong with the system. Well, maybe something wrong with Alabama. This can go sideways really quick. And the pressure will be absolutely enormous on Kalen DeBoer to get it going. They get Louisiana Monroe next week. Then Wisconsin comes. Interesting game. That's a game Alabama should win. But Nick can't
Well, they
save them,
annihilated
right?
Wisconsin last year, Dan.
Right, they annihilated Wisconsin. But that's a good game that Alabama wins. Then they're at Georgia at the end of the month. Like, by the end of September, this could be reversed. This could be toxic. This could just be like, Alabama fan is not ready to just sit around and go 8-4.
Yeah.
And the team that you saw on Saturday might be an 8-4 football team. Might not even be that. I don't know. You got to have a lot better. They have to regroup under duress in Tuscaloosa. It is a whole different season. It is hard to follow a legend. And I thought this, I'm going to hold out hope. I'm not going to fire him yet, as the AL.com already has. But this was not the start that anybody wanted. I mean, I don't know how you're an Alabama fan right now and you feel good about anything. Like, yeah, you saw NFL players on the field. You just didn't see them winning the game.
Yeah. No. Look, the only person in Alabama who wanted this is our friend Paul Feinbaum, who just has to be salivating, waiting for the calls to come in on Monday afternoon. Because that, look, like, Nick Saban built that thing to an impossible level of emotionless dominance, right? It was just this assembly line of 5 stars, and living up to that was always going to be difficult. And I think I'll say this: by the time they play LSU, they have a bye after South Carolina on October 25th. By the time they play LSU on November 8th, I think we'll know. Like, there's some signs now where this thing is going. It's $63 million, Dan, somewhere in that neighborhood to fire him. So that would be the second biggest buyout. The biggest buyout in college football history is Jimbo's 76 whatever million, right? And then the second biggest is Gus Malzahn at Auburn at 21 million. So it would be triple the second biggest buyout. That's an inordinate number. You and I both know Greg Byrne. He is not like an emotional reactionary guy.
No, not
like, that's just not in his DNA. But if this continues to not go like to the Alabama standard like they want, you wonder if Kalen DeBoer recognizes it's not a fit and tries to side door somewhere else. Like, the notion of them firing him still, to me, is a little bit crazy at $63 million. Because he is an excellent football coach.
And after the first week.
And who are you going to go hire? Right?
I don't know.
You can hire Lane Kiffin? You could. He's a good coach. He's been there. They know him. Right? But there's not some supremely obvious. Look, John Summerall at Tulane's a great coach, right? Like, showed it again on Saturday. He was great at Troy. He's been great at Tulane. He's going to be good at Alabama right away? Like, no. Like, he's the –
Kalen DeBoer is the obvious choice. Kalen DeBoer is the obvious choice, and he's recruiting really well.
Yeah.
So we'll give it time.
He was 25-3 at Washington.
Yeah. No,
this wasn't like he was at Wabash. He was at Washington. He was 25-3, beat Oregon a couple times, beat Texas in the semifinal. And look, like, if there was one thing about Kalen DeBoer, he was an excellent game coach. Like, the guy just won games. It wasn't pretty. They weren't like this. They were not a Nick Saban team where they were dominant, beating everybody 63-0. But if they were in a dogfight with Arizona, Cal, Texas, or they figured out ways to win. He was a big onions, big game coach who even like early third quarter, I'm like, Kalen DeBoer figures out how to win these games. I just saw it too many times, but it just didn't happen. The physicality of the game is the thing that maybe like concerned me the most, Dan. They were just getting gashed and pushed around. And so do we see a coordinator switch? Like there's going to be something before a fight. Like I just
we're
a
long way.
Yet.
I'm just saying,
yes,
Florida
it is a
State.
Long way.
We're going to see Florida State played a great game, and credit to them. And again, to Norvell, and they've plug and play. 2 years ago, they had an incredible portal class. Last year didn't work out as well. This year, maybe it is. This is going to be a great team to watch. Love it. The scene was incredible in Tallahassee. It was fantastic. I'm just to the Bama point before we move on, because there's too many games. They got like there's a little bit of a gauntlet. There's Wisconsin. Again, should they beat them? Sure, but it's not nobody. At Georgia, they're at Missouri. Tennessee looked really good on Saturday. I said this, that they have a program. They didn't just have a quarterback. Joey Aguilar looked fine. Tennessee's no rollover. South Carolina looked really good, especially late against Virginia Tech. They're at South Carolina. Then they got LSU. Then they got Oklahoma. Like, this is not Auburn won a big game at Baylor. Like, there's a lot of minefields in this schedule, and you're going to have to. You get down like that. If you're playing like that, you're not surviving that run. You're just not. So, speaking of one of those, LSU, 17-10. They go to Clemson. The battle of the Death Valleys. Talk about incredible environment and scene. Really was all over the country. Just stadiums packed, ratings up. I'd like to remind everyone the NIL is yet to kill college football, right? Weren't the fans supposed to all turn and this is ruined? The sport's dead. Maybe next year. Maybe next year is the year. All I saw was
glory. This is a glory era, man. Like, step back. These are the glory days.
These are the glory days. There's more competitiveness. There's more teams can reboot in a year. It's better with NIL. Sorry, I know it's not popular. The sky is falling. Everyone hates college football except for the 14 million people that showed up at stadiums this weekend.
Dan, this is my summation of that. College football has the best season in any sport, and it has the worst off seasons. The off seasons are just pits of like Congress, like just all like nonsense. And then,
then the season starts and everyone loves it. Like, and the coaches downplaying their sport. I've never seen a business where the coaches just sit around and go, "This is terrible. This is awful.
Yeah, the coaches constantly.
It's the worst.
We got to do something.
Like, we need Trump to save us." Everyone's like, "Let's get drunk for the game, man." Yeah.
It's like, the foot hits the ball and it's just magically, it's awesome. The formula. Yeah. None of the suits can screw up the formula of the sport. It's so good. So God bless it. There's a lot of people trying.
Stop listening to the people saying next year is when college sports will fall apart. It didn't happen again this year. Anyway, LSU with this incredible victory, an incredible scene.
Did you see LSU's role in trolling our podcast, Dan?
They did troll the podcast. Maybe we weren't as, particularly Reese. Reese caught a lot of shrapnel on that one.
We watched
the uncontroversial Reese Davis caught some heat.
Reese such a firebrand, just that hot take artist. He's trying to get Paul's job.
Yeah.
So we watched the clip. For our listeners, if you go to LSU football, they did a mashup of different people picking Clemson against LSU. It led with our podcast. It led with me just saying, "What are we going to learn, guys, about Clemson?" And then they went through all these different people picking Clemson. I actually picked LSU. They didn't include that in the mashup, but there was a particularly long segment of Reese who loved it. By the way, he was like, "This is great. Like, this is like we pick games. Like, if we were undefeated picking games, Dan, you and I would live in like adjoining penthouses in Vegas.
We'd be
right?
banned. Yeah,
Yeah. Instead, we're in mediocre college hotel towns, Hyatts, trying to grind out a living here. We are not game pickers for a living. So
yeah, but
that was fun. Like, that is
they needed that victory.
Yeah.
It sets the tone. They put so much into beating Clemson. It was maybe Brian Kelly's best victory, one of them. Since he got to LSU, can they build off that momentum? You just need to win. It was a bring your own guts game, right? And they got it. And I think Clemson is going to be fine. I don't really take a whole lot of negative out of Clemson. It would have been nice to win that, but Clemson's problem is they're all of a sudden the ACC doesn't look so easy. That's probably their more concern. So maybe they could have used this victory, but great scene for college football and great win for LSU.
Yeah. I think all three losers in the top 10 games, Dan, like, could end up in the playoff. Like, I don't think that's some crazy notion. To switch to LSU quickly. The buzz there that I had heard in camp was that the defense had just undergone, remarkable strides. I think LSU was 76th in the country last year, Dan, in pass defense. And for the place that has given us more first round corners and safeties, like that, it was DBU for 15 years. For them to be so bad in the secondary the last 2 years was pretty jarring. That clearly has shifted. They are back to looking and feeling like LSU back there. You got Harold Perkins playing the star, running around. Mansour Delane's one of these guys who was a high-end NFL prospect at Virginia Tech and never figured it out. He was awesome the other night. Halsey played well in the second half. They've got some depth there. So I just think that Blake Baker now has the toys on defense to to really go out and dominate in the league. And, fun to see Garrett Nussmeier have that moment, probably his first like true, signature win. Aaron Anderson was fun to watch, wasn't he, Dan? Like scooting around. Like you don't see a lot of little slots that are like that powerful, like usually they're slippery and hard to tackle. He was running through guys. So yeah, just like this is, is Coach Corso going to be right again? Is he going to walk off? Because he picked LSU as his champ. So tuck that away, my friend.
Staying in the state of Louisiana's 20th anniversary of Katrina and the hurricane and the tragedy and the misery that brought. Tulane they hosted Northwestern, and they asked. I think the game was in New Orleans, right? It was in New Orleans.
It was, yeah. No, that was a home game.
They hosted them. I don't want to be wrong. Not Reese. Reese gets everything right. I get many things wrong. I think I've pronounced every name so far. Even Tulane.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't say Dabo because you don't know how to say it.
I don't know how to. It's not a real word. It's Dab Boy, and so I call him William Christopher Sweeney. They'll be okay. William Christopher will get his thing together. Tulane wanted to wear its 2005 uniforms against Northwestern, and Northwestern denied the request. And then Tulane went out and beat them 23-3, leading to John Summerall say, when you disrespect the city of New Orleans, you're going to run into it. Not trying to be a jerk, but don't disrespect the city of New Orleans. I would agree with that. Don't mess with New Orleans. Okay. That's not one of those cities you want to disrespect. They'll come back at you. But what the heck was Northwestern thinking? And so the other I think they would have got whooped anyway. But if we had an explanation, I couldn't find any comment on this.
My understanding was that the request to do it came late for such a request. So and like everything had been set already, and Northwestern wasn't able to change to accommodate.
Well, like a good coach, he took something that probably was only half true and turned it into the disrespect of the entire city.
Yes, yeah, there was a little smacking there of like we're gonna a rallying cry. So, but yeah. Give Tulane credit for this. They took a Big Ten team and they whipped them.
Yeah,
whipped them. And we talked a little last podcast about like the Yahtzee of Group of Five. Boise gets whipped in Tampa against USF. Like you just don't know with these teams because they all have 50 new players and their best players all get pulled up. So best waiver wire pickup of the offseason was Jake Retzlaff. He goes and has a long touchdown run and over 100 yards rushing. He's really good through the air. The BYU quarterback who was 11-2 last year and shows up on July 21st and wins the starting job. Brendan Sullivan is banged up, the Iowa transfer, so that opened the door for him. And Retzlaff was really good. And now, like with that piece of empirical evidence, Tulane, I believe, has Duke and Ole Miss the rest of this month. They're going to be an interesting team to watch. Yeah,
and South Florida gives the American another good victory, knocks Boise out, and so chances of the American getting that Group of Five bid goes up because South Florida looked absolutely tremendous in that game.
And they've got big games too. I think they have Florida and Miami this month, so we'll learn a lot about them.
Well, speaking of Miami, it's been too long on this. Notre Dame Miami game Sunday night, absolute classic, great game, great scene at Hard Rock down there. When Miami fans actually go to the game, they really go to the game. It is a scene. Program put a ton into this thing. They win 27-24. I quickly to Notre Dame. I like that they fought back. I thought CJ Carr showed some things. Notre Dame will be fine, but man, I could not stop being impressed with the trenches of Miami. Their offensive line held back a pretty vaunted Notre Dame defensive front, and conversely, the defensive line, Reuben Bain Jr., Akeem Mesidor, Ahmad Moten, these guys were this is a brutal unit to go against. I thought they dominated the game. They made the Bain and Mesidor made the 2 sacks at the end to close it out.
How wild was that interception?
This Bain had it, right? Did Bain have the pick?
Bain got it, but it like hit somebody's foot.
It hit someone's foot. Like the athleticism of Miami. Like the guy's upside down with
Olympic broad jump. Yeah, it was like, whoa.
Yeah, it was wild. Kane, I picked them to win this game, and I have loved Mario Cristobal's recruiting. And listen, everyone says the same thing about Miami. If you go back to Howard Schnellenberg, right? The state of Miami. Well, Bain's from Miami, Moten's from Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Mesidor's from Clear. Like, they got a whole bunch of guys local. This defense is stacked. They look like the favorite in the ACC to me, especially if Carson Beck continues to get the offense going. But that defense was great.
Yeah. So I'm gonna step back on this one, Dan, and somebody like Wes Durham or one of our old guard ACC people, David Teal would be a great person to ask about this. But 2004, when Miami joined the ACC with Virginia Tech, is the time that I started doing this job, covering national college football. I cannot remember Florida State and Miami having significant wins on the same day of the caliber that they did this weekend, or the same weekend, I guess. Because remember, the ACC was designed in 2004 when they expanded with those teams to have Miami and Florida State dominate every year and then eventually play in the conference championship game. And that just never happened, right? Has Miami played in the league title game yet? They were supposed to be in 1 year, but they were on probation. They
built the ACC so that Florida State and Miami would meet most years in the ACC championship game. It's never happened. Yeah.
Yes, it's never happened. So, this is 20 something years later. This was actually what the ACC was built to do. Now the ACC has Stanford and Cal and SMU, and it's wild and wacky. But it is. I would be stunned if those two programs had bigger wins on the same weekend as they did this weekend. I don't have the capacity to look that up. We have smart people at ESPN who could, but that's what I was thinking about last night. Was wow, this is what John Swafford had in mind in 2004 when they did this. We're going to take these two powerhouse programs at the time, and if they're aligned and humming, we're going to compete with the SEC. That was the notion back then. And Miami slogged through 2 decades basically, and it never happened. And so if those two are ripping again, it will be great for the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And they look like it. So again, I agree with you. I think CJ Carr showed a lot of potential. Some of those runs, there's a little Riley Leonard in him on that. I don't know if he wants to be Riley Leonard and take those hits, but there's a lot of potential there for Notre Dame. It was a great game. I thought Notre Dame was about to get blown out, and they fought back, and that was really, really the bit. But I don't know that just the Miami offense and defensive fronts, and that's Mario Cristobal. He's a win it down low guy, and he's got some group there. So we'll see how that one plays out. It's going to be a fun ACC race now, though. Just those three, and we don't know what Carolina and some of the others are gonna do.
Yeah, SMU we just can't leave aside either. They didn't play. I think they played East Texas A&M, so I don't know. We're going to read too much into that, but Kevin Jennings is one of the better quarterbacks in America, and they're loaded. So I'll be curious how they play amidst expectations and schedule this year. But the ACC's fun, man. It's a good league.
Couple only in college football moments.
We love those.
Colorado. Deion Sanders having some health issues. We're great to see him on the sideline. They lost Georgia Tech, close game. Not the best time management, but whatever.
No,
that was a great game. Also a great scene.
Fun.
They have put he has a portable toilet on the sideline, which is good for his health. But they got it sponsored by Depends. They have a sponsored portable toilet. College football, find a buck anywhere. I mean,
yes,
that was phenomenal. They put together a package for that in 1 minute.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that was remarkable. That was 10 years from now. We're gonna be like, remember when Deion Sanders was the coach of Colorado and he had the sponsored toilet on the sideline? That you don't talk about. Jets and Patriots fans don't talk about that. It's just our
no. It's just
we love you, college football. Please don't change.
You remember Deion Sanders tried to cash in on the George Foreman grill when the George Foreman grill was big, and he created his own hot dog cooker.
I don't remember this
Hot Dog
at all.
Express. Yeah, he had the Deion Sanders Hot Dog Express.
The George Foreman grill was great, by the way. I use that thing all the time.
Foreman grill was great. But yeah, I don't know how the hot dog cooker all went. Nebraska, excellent game. Won a close game. They won a
They
close
did.
game, beat Cincinnati, held them off in Kansas City. That was a huge win for, it seems like 3 weeks ago already, but that was a huge win for the Huskers. Now they got in a little heat after when the social media team at Nebraska to celebrate the victory. Now, Travis Kelce, UC alum, was there. Patrick Mahomes was there. Local UC alum brought his new fiance to the game. It just happens to be Taylor Swift. So the social media staff, they took the engagement picture of Travis and Taylor, and they superimposed Herbie Husker in for Travis. I don't know if you saw this.
I actually did not see this.
Well, there's a reason you didn't. They said change of plans. That was it. And so Taylor was lovingly looking at Herbie Husker.
He's handsome.
The Swifties did not appreciate this. It was disrespectful.
That's a powerful force. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I would like to say, I'm not messing with you guys. I agree. This was
if you think Vol Twitter is tough, wait till you see Swifty Twitter.
Yes. FSU Twitter, any of these. No, the Swifties, do not mess with the Swifties. Nebraska found, and they deleted the picture. They took it down.
Yeah. So this is my challenge, Dan. Matt Rule has started a podcast. Did you know this? House Rules.
I think I heard about this. Yes.
So he's doing it with old Philly radio host Cuz, who once recommended a fine Italian restaurant for me. So I have an affinity for Cuz. He's like one of these Philly character guys. And so Rule and I have been texting a little bit about podcasting because he's starting it and everything like that. So if Matt Rule's podcast is authentic, he takes on the Herbie Husker incident right now. In the wake of his big win over UC, you got to address it to the fans. You got to let the Swifties know. You got to talk about it. Like, these are the things the podcast needs.
Don't take them on. This is like the 2000 Miami Hurricanes. You are Cumberland against their Georgia Tech. You do not want to take on the Swifties.
Yeah. No, I just think you got to be on topic. Like, this is a topic. Like, you've got the Swifties in the mix. You can't, you don't want to talk about, playing 12 personnel against the Bearcats. That's not going to get you listeners, Matt. This is going to get you listeners. Like,
how about a little love for Herbie Husker? No, he is not Travis Kelce. No, Taylor has picked the right guy. I'm not suggesting, but he's tall, blonde, blue eyes, good shape. Yeah. He's out there farming. You look at this guy's a machine. He's been the Husker mascot since 1977. Steady job, very steady employment. He doesn't speak. We've never heard him speak, but probably a great listener. Probably.
I mean, he'd crush it on Farmers Only, right?
Yeah. Maybe he can't get Taylor, but he should be getting. I mean, let's not just totally, good choice, Taylor. Travis, great. We wish them well. But Herbie Husker deserves a little bit of love here. It's not the biggest reach that someone would be interested in Herbie Husker. Knows a lot about volleyball.
He's a loyal guy, right? I mean, he had to suffer through a lot of bad football for 20 years.
Every game he's there.
He's got that strong jaw. He's smiling all the time.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Good disposition.
Poses with pictures, right? If you're a celeb, you got to have the Instagram ready boyfriend. Husker, come on, he's posing all the time. Yeah, I think there was a lot there. All right, out west, Utah, UCLA.
We know Reese Davis isn't hosting the podcast. We need 5 minutes on Herbie Husker's dating profile.
Reese. Get back soon because I'm up to trouble. Utah looked great.
Utah looked awesome.
Not. UCLA 43-10 for Utah. That's a great win, and we called it Pac-12 after dark longingly because it should have been, but it's not. It's Big 12. But that's a great win for the Big 12. It's a great game for Utah too. Like, you get that. For us on the East Coast, it's the last call. You're hoping the game is close in the second half so you can stay at the bar with some weird justification of your 14th hour of watching college football. But it's really big, and for Utah, like, that's prime time on the West, their recruiting area, and they just in
LA where they got a lot of players from.
In LA, and both sides of the line were great. UCLA, they're breaking in Nico Iamaleava. He didn't stand a chance. He had some plays, but he isn't at Tennessee anymore, and he was running for his life trying to do it. So a lot of work to do at UCLA, but a really impressive win for Utah.
Yeah, I believe we both picked Utah to win the Big 12. Is that right, Dan?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Ride high on that.
And this is probably the only thing.
Make a little video for that, Utah.
Yeah.
We'll finally say some good about you.
The formula for Utah is back being the formula. And they weren't just like bad at quarterback. They were like the worst in the country, basically, for 2 seasons because of injury and such. So to see them rolling again, the QB run game is really going to help that offense cook. Like they have a plan. They also just have the best offensive line in college football. And if you have the best offensive line in college football, you are going to win games. And they pushed UCLA around. Look, Nico was the 10th best quarterback in the SEC last year, Dan. And he chose to go to a place where he has less talent around him. So, and he chose to go to a new system with no spring practice. So this is not a surprising result, right? When you take a guy who has a lot of talent and has had good experience in production for 1 season, not great, just good. And I just think UCLA's programmatically, there was some buzz about some upgrades and there was some talk that like they have just a long way to go. So I'm not writing off UCLA at this point, but I think like thinking Nico would come in and just magically transform the program was naive.
Yeah, I think I was naive on a little bit on that. I thought it would be a better show.
Not you. I don't think.
No, I did. I thought.
Oh, you did.
But yeah, I'll admit it. I admit I was wrong on some things. Yeah, every once in a while.
Oh no, hey, we're wrong.
I was right on Tennessee being good. Tennessee
you
looked
were
good.
You were. Whew.
So
they ripped out of the gate. Yeah, what was interesting about Tennessee to me, Dan, was that last year their identity was run game and defense. And they went back to being Tennessee, right? This was Josh Heupel at Missouri UCF throwing it over the top. Joey Aguilar is a talented guy. He can sling it. He'll make some mistakes. Like he's a little bit of a gunslinger. But yeah, they were clearly rolling there. And boy, Syracuse's schedule looms. Oof, that is going to be a tough gauntlet for Fran Brown.
We've had our first flight back with no shower for Coach Fran Brown. So Atlanta, Syracuse, not close. That'll do it. Any quick
3 hours,
30 seconds on any performance over the weekend that stood out that we have not gotten to.
Whew,
there's like 100 games. I mean,
no, I know that's a good question. You go first, Dan.
I thought Bryce Underwood, number 1 recruit, started for Michigan as a day 1 starter. It was against New Mexico, but I thought he looked really good. There's a lot of potential. Maybe not right now. We'll see what he does against Oklahoma next week, but he looked like a number 1 recruit. He really can zip the ball, made some good reads, made some really good passes, can run, but was not obsessed with running. Again, it was New Mexico, but if you looked at him, you said, okay, I can see why he was the number 1 recruit, and Mrs. Larry Ellison decided to tell Larry Ellison's money and make sure he was going out there for Big Blue. So I thought that was impressive. It's going to be the storyline this week when they play Oklahoma.
Sure. Yeah, he's pretty down on the hoof, Bryce Underwood. Nick Harbor of South Carolina is pretty on the hoof as well. I guess if I want to go one smaller thing, hats off to Tarleton, FCS Tarleton for beating Army, and hats off to Austin Peay for thumping Middle Tennessee State. The degree of difficulty in this era for FCS upsets over FBS is just considerable, right? Like, because those rosters just get pillaged every year because of the portal and NIL. So and there was a bunch in danger too. Holy Cross had Northern Illinois going. So I'm just glad as we evolve, and I'm all for evolutions in the sport, guys getting paid. I'm not waving at the cloud. I'm just glad we still have that, potential, that chance. Hey, how about North Dakota pushing K-State to the end? So those are subplots that are part of the fabric of college football that I am glad are still alive. So, and what a moment for, if you're at Austin Peay and you can roll in and thump Middle, and the Tarleton game is great against Army. So big moments for those campuses, and I'm glad those moments still exist.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to the College Game Day podcast. Please download the podcast wherever you prefer to get your podcasts, or better yet, subscribe so you never want to miss a single episode of this And Reese will be back on Wednesday as well.
Thank God.
We can talk. I know it's better. But you get what you get, and you get what you pay for. And this podcast was free. So you got me, but this is what you get. We'll have Coach Belichick. I mean, it's not even over, but by the time you hear this, maybe it's game time.
Good luck out there, Herbie Husker, man. It's a lonely world, man. You'll find
Herbie Husker. Get on
okay?
Farmers Only. Let's see what happens. We will talk to you later.